Member for Calgary-West.
All right, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Another session, another missed opportunity to pass Serenity's law. Near the end of the fall session, when everyone agreed more action was needed to protect children, I suggested a minor legislative change that would require adults to contact police if they know a child is in need of intervention. In December, just before the session ended, this NDP government said, that's a great idea, but we've run out of time. Minister, what is your excuse this time? And don't say you're waiting for the panel to bring it forward, because you have already ignored most of their recommendations.
The Honourable Minister of Children's Services.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, I'm actually very thankful for the work that the panel did, prioritizing vulnerable children and working together to come up with consensus recommendations. And Mr. Speaker, I'm very proud to have accepted, and I'm moving forward with implementing every single one of them, because, Mr. Speaker, this issue is so important that we all need to come together and rise above politics and figure out what is in the best interest of our children. And from that perspective, Mr. Speaker, I'm very excited to hear what the panel comes forward with after the second phase, and I look forward to working with them on implementing those recommendations as well.
First supplemental.
This bill is called Serenity's Law because there were adults who knew that little Serenity was in danger and did not call the, quote, director, unquote. And given that it could easily be called Ezekiel's Law, Ryan's Law, Alex's Law, because each of these children suffered long, neglectful deaths. And adults other than those found responsible for their deaths knew about their suffering. Minister, you have not introduced legislation that will take immediate action to save children's lives, as you promised that you would do. But there is still time. Will you bring forward Serenity's Law before this session ends?
Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, once again, for the first time ever, all parties in the Assembly are considering real, meaningful changes to the way that we protect children. So, Mr. Speaker, again, this is one idea that the panel can consider. But again, Mr. Speaker, as previously stated, we do need to engage with police and others who would be involved by this. In the meantime, I would absolutely encourage every single Albertan to just know that you're legally required to report child abuse. And if you do know of an imminent threat to a child, please call 911.
Second supplemental.
Given that I have consulted with experts in health and safety law, police, legal counsel, people who work with the intervention system, parents who have lost their children, and given that Serenity's family came to the legislature to provide powerful personal support for the immediate passing of this law, and given that if I could, I would introduce Serenity's Law today. Minister, unfortunately, I'm not in a position to take this action, but you are. Why are you choosing not to do this?
The Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, absolutely, we are all committed to moving forward in terms of supporting vulnerable children in this province. So absolutely, Mr. Speaker, I'm looking forward, with tremendous excitement to hearing the outcome of the work of the panel as they move through phase 2 to talk about how we can improve the child intervention system in this province. But again, I would state, Albertans, it is your obligation to call and report child abuse should you know of it. If you know of a child who's at risk of abuse or being abused, please report that. And if there's an imminent threat, please call 911.